Hi, welcome to another video. So on this video, what we're gonna be focusing on is just the continuation of where we were last time. So we're gonna create those Apex classes here. No, sorry, one Apex class. Because I don't want to waste time, I just asked ChatGPT to create a class for me. So I'm just gonna paste the code so that at least we can move on quickly and not waste time. I'm gonna create an Apex class. And then I'm gonna call it a calculator. Then I'm gonna paste the code from ChatGPT into this. Right, so let me format my code. Right, then I'm saving this code. So on this code, what I wanted was just two methods, add and subtract. And then I'm gonna create a test class for this. So if you know that what you want to understand is mainly um, deployment. You don't need to worry yourself about the classes and how the code was written and all of that. But if you have an interest, go ahead and also write your own Apex class there. So these are my Apex test and my Apex class. So I'm gonna go back to my Copado, and then in my Copado, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to user story. So user stories are what we use to move the metadata across the pipelines. So I'm gonna create a new user story, and I'm gonna say is a user story. Yeah, it's a little bit slow, but it's opening up. So I'm gonna call it calculator Apex class, and then the project, you need to choose the one that was default, what that was created by default. But we'll see how to create this on our Copado developer sessions that we're going to introduce later on. And then, so this project, this should be the project that is connected to your pipeline. And then the status, you must leave it as is. And then all of this information you can populate is just depending on your structure, that how it's set up on your team. But for me, I'm gonna skip a lot of this, and then I'm gonna go to credentials. And then credentials is where is this feature been built on. So this what is the sandbox that you want to retrieve the metadata from. So for me is dev1. So I'm gonna choose dev1. I don't need to put environment. You can if you want, but after putting credentials, it will automatically pull the environment here. And then here you can choose which type of metadata are you deploying. You can leave it blank, you can choose. So if you leave it blank, it says you're deploying, mostly it's saying you're deploying everything. I'm not sure, but I think so. Then I'm gonna deploy an Apex class, and then the code coverage, the minimum must be 75%. I didn't run that, so I'm not even sure where it's gonna get. Right, so this is all that you need to do for this. Do not check this promote and deploy and ready to promote, because you don't have any metadata in your user story yet. So your feature branch, the way it's gonna be created is gonna be feature appended by the name of the user story. So you'll see how that is created. So let's save. So a user story is created. So remember, user story is like a container of them that will save the metadata that you want to push across. So you always work with user stories. So from here, I'm gonna commit changes. I hate how this is slow, but anyway, it's what we have to work with. So what you can do on this Copado source format, if you've been with Copado metadata before, you'll see that most of these are different. So what they've included here is that you can search by type to say I want an Apex class, and then you put the Apex class name, or you can search by change by time. So when was the changes done? The changes was done after whatever the time and date that you put here, and then you can also put the last modified by whoever. If maybe is you only, you can put your name here. If maybe it's a specific developer that you want, you can put their name here, and then I can say get changes. And then if I don't find whatever changes that I want, I can come here and say refreshing the index, so it will try to pull everything that was done after the last time I refreshed. So but for now it's working fine. So I want this class and I want the actual class and the test class. So I've selected the metadata that I want to include on my user story that I want to deploy. Then I'm going to click commit changes. So I don't want to recreate the feature branch or change the base branch, so I'm gonna leave everything as is. So I'm going to commit. So this process, you do it, the developer goes and develop, and then they come and tell you that I've developed this thing, this class, or I've created this objects or fields or permission sets. Please go ahead and deploy them to INT. What you will do, you'll create a user story, and then from that user story you will commit to it. So what this commit job is doing is fetching all those, and then they're going to commit it into the feature branch that is created. This feature branch is also created in your GitHub repo, because I'll mention GitHub mostly because it's what I'm using for the sessions. So if you're using Azure DevOps, you can go ahead. I don't think there's differences there. Most of them are similar. So it's committing and then it's creating a test record. So we'll show you how this test record works in a few. So let this finish. So my commit is done, so I can go back to my user story. What is the fastest way of getting there? Okay, I just need to go back then, user stories, and then go to this user story. And then from this user story here, you will see the metadata that is included in your user story. And then from here, also, sorry, forgot to mention that you will see your pipeline here, so that the next environment that this thing is gonna go to is INT. You cannot go to dev1 to UAT if you didn't set it up like that in your pipeline. So this will travel according to how your pipeline is set up. So your pipeline is also like some sort of a direction that the user story needs to follow. So on the fields here, if there's a post deployment step that you need someone to come and do, you can just click here and then say new. Like this is mostly for post deployment steps. So sorry, not post, also pre-deployment steps. So let me see. I'm gonna say create account record, just for example, create account record, and then what is it? What's the type? The type is a manual task. So after the deployment is done, and then it will be assigned to this person. You can determine who's gonna be assigned to, and then I'm gonna say name is equals to Salesforce Sunday. The only field that is required on the account is name, so I'm gonna leave it at that. And then where do I want this task to be completed on the destination environment, and then I can go ahead and click save. And then all of that is done, and then on the test, what do we have on the test? On the test, we want to run those tests to see if that it reaches that 75% coverage that we need. So I'm just gonna click run test, because we need the coverage to be 75%, but this is only applicable for Apex classes. So if you don't have an Apex class in your metadata, you don't need to run this test. So running this test now is gonna start soon. So it will either tell you that the coverage is less or is more, or you got an error on your class while running the test. So some of your method failed. Right. So let's wait for it to finish running. I hope it doesn't take time because this is not a big org, it's a small org, and doesn't have any it doesn't have many Apex classes on it. So it's done and then it has passed. So let's see if it will show the details. Okay, maybe it wants me to reload the entire screen. Let me go back there on the test. Yeah, so now it shows that the coverage is 100%. So it means we can go ahead and deploy this. But before we deploy, I want to show you this thing first. So what you can do is to open a pull request from here. So you can open a pull request. So a pull request, how a pull request is done is like your feature branch trying to merge into your target branch. So that's how a pull request is created. So let me open it up. I'm gonna leave the name as is. I don't really want to create much things here, but sometimes you'll have reviewers there that you need to ask them to approve, and then you can create the pull request. Then on this pull request, what you can see is the file that someone is trying to push. And I don't know if it's my network or this thing is kind of slow. Right. So you'll see that with source format on the folder structure, the only thing that you'll see here is classes because it's the only thing that I'm pushing. But with metadata format, what they used to do, it will include all the folders that are there, even if we don't have any changes within them. So that was the problem with metadata. So source format, the reason why is much easier to work with and much faster is because it only includes the changes that you want in your pull request or feature branch or promotion branch. So yeah, this is what I'm pushing forward, the classes and their versions. Right, and then now what I can do, I can come here. So here's what you need to understand. Ready to promote, it means this thing is ready to be promoted, but I don't want to promote and deploy it now. But if I check this checkbox, promote and deploy, it will promote it and deploy it now. So I'm gonna show you this one method, and then next time we create another user story, I'm gonna show you another method. So the first method that I'm going to show you is this promote and deploy. So I'm gonna edit this, check this, and then save. So a promotion is being created. So if you scroll down from this page, you go down, you'll see a promotion. So what a promotion is used for is creating a temporary branch for you to to merge the feature branch with the target branch, and then also move those changes from the feature branch into the target branch. So this is what the promotion branch is used for. So one thing also I liked about the source format is that when I click here on the queue, it will show how many people are here deploying with me, and it runs one job at a time. It doesn't run multiple jobs at a time. So this part here is the promotion part, and then this is the the deployment card. So you'll see this lovely view. This view is only for source format. So on this view, what do you get? You see your source, your destination, and then your promotion name, and then your project, your status, and then the user stories that you've included in your that you're trying to deploy. You see them here as well. If you have 50 user stories, you'll see them here, and then you can add a user story here. The only user story that you can add here is the ones that you checked ready to promote, not the promote and deploy. And then here on this tab, you will see the actual components that you are deploying, and then the test part. This one here, you won't see anything, and then there's somewhere here. Let me just confirm. Yeah, if you want to roll back your changes that you've already deployed, you see this is grayed out, but once this is deployed, this will be enabled. If you want to roll back, say you don't want those changes anymore, or they've broken someone else's changes, I'm gonna click this roll back, roll back, and then it will roll back those changes. But I'll see you, or I'll show you as we go on. So the deployment is done. So if I log into int, so let me come here and find int. It's the one. So the deployment is done, but we pending that task that we created, the manual task. So after I created my account, I will come here and then complete this manual task. But before so you can update it. It doesn't check, this one doesn't really check if you've done your manual task or not, but I just want to do it for the sake of this video. And so let me go to setup and check my deployment status first before I can check the actual classes. Status, then deployment status. So the one that I just did is this one. So I should have two components being deployed. So let me see. So yeah, two components have been deployed. So we can go ahead and check them, but I think I saw them somewhere. But okay, let's go this way. Apex classes. Yeah, here's our classes deployed. You can see the actual code that was in dev1 into this. Yeah, so this is the magic of deploying the user story with a promotion branch using Copado. I would like to end this video here, and then I'll see you on the next video.